Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us today. And whenever I attend any of the industry forums, one of or the most discussed topic now is AI and how is AI transforming your respective sector, your respective business. And over the past couple of months, many of the tech conclaves that I have attended, including Mobile World Congress and CES, where I hear from global leaders that Indians are most excited about AI. Indians have, want to try out AI, experience AI, most excited about it as a country. But how is it impacting your individual sector? So we have such a beautiful mix of panelists over here. Ajay, let's begin this conversation with you. Coming in from a traditional sector like cement and construction, how is AI transforming your business?
I think we've first got to ask ourselves, no sector is traditional per se, right? We are dealing with people who are contemporary today. We are talking to today's audience. I think you've got to first define what's the F of your business, right? Which is it effectiveness? Is it efficiency? I think most times new technology gets used from a efficiency point of view. We are people who've got to define as to what's the effectiveness paradigm. What are consumer problems that you are going to solve, which so far all the tools that were available weren't able to do that. I think if that's the focus, I think you take a leap beyond and create value and get to keep some of it back. So oftentimes, I think we've got to challenge ourselves as to, are you solving your problem, which is your problem is to sell more stuff and so on and so forth, and efficiency, etc. But stepping from, are you solving the consumer's problem? Yeah. Once you take that paradigm, I think there are new vistas that open. There are challenges that open. For example, from a cement point of view, I think we've always known that people who are building homes in India, they're very young, right? 32 is the average age, which is not what used to be at our parents' time. Now, a 32-year-old fellow, biggest project of his life, doesn't know where to start with, right? To quote Rumsfeld, he doesn't know what he doesn't know, right? To that person doing a journey which is irreversible, how do you help him, right? Now, AI helps you. I can have the largest battery of engineers in my team, but they can't service 8 million homes, right? They can't help personally people in a rural village. They can't help the L&T engineer on a bullet train project. So how do you help personally? The same set of tricky questions, that checklist that you need to go through. I think we've used AI to possibly solve that. Was it possible earlier with the earlier technologies? Not necessarily. If you are planning your home, you always think an architect and an engineer is the domain of people who are big. Can I reach that level of efficiency, that level of finesse to create, again, the biggest project of his or her life in rural Barabanki? Possibly, yes.
Yeah. Brijesh, over to you. Coming from Marico, tell us, what is AI solving for you? Is it your problem, bringing in more efficiency? Is it the consumer's problem? How are you going about this technology?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So essentially, if we look at the overall paradigm, it started with simple machine learning to begin with. And from there, you move to much higher order cases in terms of, let's say, non-numeric, which is to deal with text, images, all of those things. And with Gen AI coming in, wherein you are now able to generate content, so to speak. So over the period of time, we've deployed, seen all of these things mature. So we deploy it in, let's say, supply chain planning solutions. We deploy it in terms of studying the market trends. We deploy it, some bit of it in terms of converting those market trends into possible product offerings. And we deploy it in terms of content, So yes, have we kind of really mastered it? No, it's moving too fast to say that we've mastered it, but have we dug our teeth into it? Do we understand it? Definitely yes. And are we investing behind it? Significantly.
Kedar, we had, Rohit in one of our previous panels, and he spoke about how not to mention AI and its impact only from a marketer's or a marketing lens, but the overall impact of it on, your sector and your business. So how do you look at the transformation? Because, banking as a sector has been one of the early adopters with so much of data that you've been sitting in, targeting the consumer, using AI effectively. So tell us about the journey.
Yeah, I think if you look at it, banks have a lot of rich data and something that you really trust and you really feel like it's really part of you. So while AI is a great enabler, there's also a catch when it comes to financial data and when it comes to the way you're using this in order to build that relationship with the consumer. So from leave the communication bit aside, I think that's a given today. You can make your videos, your content, all of it at a click of a button. I think one big shift that we are seeing is the way the entire thing is more predictive than reactive. And if you look at it from banks' perspective, what banks are, or larger finance sector in India, I think the big shift that is happening is really moving from eligibility to something which is a possibility. And what I mean by that is, if earlier you would always look at data and ask, okay, are you eligible for a loan? Are you eligible for a particular product? Now it's more about, hey, you're actually doing a lot of stuff and how can I partner with you? Now, when you're taking that leap, and that's where the larger sector is moving, when you're moving from being, looking at eligibility to possibility, I think that's where the role of AI is coming in big time. And AI is helping us actually be a lot more predictive in all aspects of the consumer. And when I say predictive, it comes in from being predicting your almost tailor making your products, because financial sector, if you look at it, making a product in financial sector is not really as difficult as probably what it is in other sectors, like whether it's a CPG business or even fintech at large. I think it's a lot more easier to be able to make tailor-made products for you. So I think there is a lot of not just ML based learning, but also kind of using AI in order to define our products. The journeys in which we are serving a consumer is changing. Bank has also been traditionally and continues to be a very personal touch, a lot more relationship-based business. Now, even there, you're getting a lot of prompts, a lot of analysis done by AI to be able to then preempt. And if you call someone, they'll almost know, saying that, okay, hey, here is what we know about you, and that's why we're giving you a particular solution. So yes, there are many aspects where it's kind of enabling banks, and I think it's true for any sector today that we see the impact.
Over to you, Anuradha. Now, in a diverse market like India, how do you see AI impacting the digital payments ecosystem?
So, when we talk of AI, it feels like it's one thing, but actually it isn't, right? So when I talk to my extended team, whether it is like maybe Amazon Pay is at the center of fintech, also technology, also financial products and financial services, what I tell my team is that AI isn't one beast. It's a many-headed hydra. It is every part of my business needs to be able to use the power of the technology to make it more efficient and more effective. So for me, I put pressure on my marketers to see if they can do more with less, right? Take more data, get more insights to see whether the outcomes, to be faster, to do with lesser money. I put pressure on the UX teams to do things in lesser time. So now the AI tools are allowing us to design things which human beings would just physically take time. Which is not to say that human beings are not needed for understanding consumer needs, not needed for making decisions on what is more important. It's just that it is faster when they have these tools in their hands. I'm asking my product teams to see whether they can test A versus B faster, because they can actually get 2 ideas executed faster than they could do earlier. Tech teams are using it for creating alternatives in codes. I think that So for me, it's all pervasive. I feel like it's not either industry specific nor is it function specific. It's just being used by certain industries more than others because I come from a CPG world, right? We might have a lot of data, but our influence is still used to be a lot of physical stuff. The tech world and the fintech world is very much in the digital space. So you learn from the digital ecosystem and you apply in the digital ecosystem. So it was a bit easier. So I believe that it is really all pervasive now.
Yeah. Sundar, over to you. I began this conversation by speaking about how when I'm speaking to any of these global leaders at these global conclaves, they say that how Indians are the most excited about AI. But, how do you see at India shaping the global AI ecosystem? If you can share some insights from, Microsoft with us. And what are some of the unique strengths that, we are sitting on right now? What are some of the big strengths that we have?
Great question, and thanks for having me here. So I think I'd first start by saying, it's great to be with 4 panelists who are in the business of building physical infrastructure, but now, and physical financing and all kinds of consumer goods, payments, and underlying infrastructure now, the AI infrastructure is what, we build, right? So we've kind of, in a funny way, role reversal of sorts, right? So India has been one of the interestingly leading adopters. Whether we see, consumer usage of things like, our copilots, or, you see industry usage like Kiran talked about from eligibility to possibility, I think is what you said, or, like Anuradha talked about. We are seeing a lot of usage. In fact, India, I think, is one of the leading users of AI. I think we are fast to get on hype cycles, but AI is out of the hype cycle, I would say now. And we are beyond the early hype into, beyond the labs into what I believe is real productivity, real ability to kind of, generate meaningful returns, both on the bottom line in terms of costs. We are seeing a lot of adoption and companies seeing a lot of savings. And in terms of the top line, in terms of expanding reach, personalizing content, all kinds of things, right? So in terms of the trends, I would say the key drivers are, I would say, personalization, especially for marketing. I see that as a very key enabler. What couldn't be done now is very possible. The big trends around like dealing with, finding that needle in your haystack kind of problems with lots of data, like fintech has, is now possible. Even in science, we are seeing a lot of such usage in AI for science. We are seeing a lot of usage in even like, commercial applications. I mean, the favorite one I like to talk about is think of something like meetings. All of us in whatever business are going to meetings, right? You now can walk into a meeting. If you're a few minutes late, this is one of my favorite things. I just have this window on the side where I say, catch me up. And AI catches me up in the meeting to where right now the meeting is, and I'm right there. That's a phenomenal kind of, ability, right? And now you can, get much more productivity. Everything from actions, you can get, the AI can create for you just in your fingertips. So a lot of usage. India is one of the leading edge use cases. And we see both from consumers and business.
Sundar, staying with you, like we have diverse set of sectors right here on the panel. We have FMCG, construction and cement. We have someone from banking and then digital payments. But India has also a very robust startup ecosystem. So how can AI-driven innovations help these startups?
Absolutely. In fact, I do think that, most startups now are naturally thinking about how, in fact, startups are one of the earliest adopters, I would say, of AI. The way we think of it is, we are here to partner with every startup out there and have them be AI first. We want to be, partner to India being AI first, to every startup being AI first. And specifically, I think the challenges that startups have are to do with access, the ability to get supercompute infrastructure. It's not easy for everyone to just jump on. And we have this program called Founders Hub, for example, where we allow people free credits and easy onboarding to come on quickly and start, playing around with models and GPUs. We are, model agnostic. So what that means is you can go from pre-trained models which have like humongous, like the OpenAI kind of LLMs to really small models, like small LLMs, what we call SLMs. All of these are available for startups to use, experiment, innovate, and we want to generate not just early startups, but we are working currently with a bunch of Soonicorns, which will soon be, right up there. So we are very optimistic, and we are seeing a lot of uptake.
Wonderful. Moving on, Ajay, over to you. How do you see, all of these emerging tech and AI models, impacting B2B marketing going forward?
So I think they are as human customers, as I always say that B2B, you sell to not an organization, but to a human being at the other end. And they have similar issues. I think B2B most often, so about a third of our business is B2B, about two-thirds is B2C. I think you're dealing with a large ecosystem which makes a decision, right? You're dealing with, and different sets of people have different requirements, essentially. And the central challenge of B2B is, the superpower in B2B is information. Today, I think accessing and putting things together as to what a B2B customer wants, which otherwise traditionally used to be behind a firewall, right? You only talk to the purchase manager or etc., right? They keep a distance, essentially to line you up and say which is the lowest cost. Today, I think putting together information as to the company that you're dealing with, the B2B client that you're dealing with, what does the organization want, right? What's their financial goals? Who's leading a particular project? I think the access is gold. It's not, the value in B2B is not created out of the product that we manufacture in our factories. The value is created by finding whose most important need in the organization are you serving. I think figuring that out has become that much more easy. It's not only the job of the frontline salesperson to go and access that particular information. That robustness of information, of mapping as to if this company is setting up a new plant, if Amazon is setting up a new warehouse, what's the goal that they have? Who's the project manager leading this charge? If the bullet train is happening, what are the financial points of approval? Where is access in this particular ecosystem? That becomes far more easy. And B2B, I strongly believe, is finding out the leverage point and the value creation point within the host organization. That has become far more easier.
Brijesh, over to you. Coming from FMCG, many Indias we all know live in India, right? There are many Indias living in India. So having said that, how do you see, some of these AI-driven insights, help you with some of the hyper-local strategies that you can adopt?
Yeah. So, well, almost everybody is on social media now, anyone who is of a certain age. So with that, what happens is your observability of trends, your observability of what is getting consumed, your observability of what is getting searched is that much more accessible. So with that, and with the particular engines also getting trained on all this particular richness of data, your ability to kind of zero in on what exact spaces that you should be kind of working on, what are the things that you need to tweak, is becoming that much more easier to kind of see the line of sight. So that's how we are approaching that.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Anuradha, over to you. You're someone who has transcended different sectors and, like from telecom to FMCG to digital payments now. Whenever there is an adoption of any new technology, like, there was something back then which was 15 years ago, then something new came in. How do you go about adopting or adapting to that change as it becomes increasingly more important from a marketer's lens?
I mean, that's a really interesting question because, when 25 years ago, when I joined the industry, I didn't feel like it was changing as fast as it's changing in the last 10 years, right? So at that point of time, there were playbooks and there would be rules of thumb that you use to decide what media plans to deploy. And it was all written down in books that came from London. Like it was that regulated or understood. And suddenly in the last 10, 15 years, it's just flipped on its head. The customer preferences change every day. The media choices change every day. In the influencer world, who is leading changes every hour. So I think marketers have had to be agile and nimble. And I would say I've had to be agile and nimble, right? And I would say that one of my personal goals has always been that and I lead a team of really young people. Like they're all ages, but they're lots of very young people, saying, I will know the technology, or at least the usage of it, as well as them, or even better. Yeah. So it's my personal goal, because if I don't put that pressure for usage, it's going to be, I don't want to be the last adopter. I want to be an early adopter. So for me, it's always been like that. It was like that for telecom, where, in the days when Facebook used to have groups, Vodafone was one of the largest groups, because I was very clear that I wanted to, to ride that. To today, like I said, I'm putting pressure on each of my teams to say, learn this, do it, tell me where the problems are, and then let's find a different solution for it.
Do you sit with them to understand how do Snapchat filters work and all of that?
That my kids teach me. I don't need my team to teach me. Snapchat filters, I teach my niece, 14-year-old. How do you do this? And I'll say, come, I'll teach you. So like I'm saying, my pressure on me is that I must know. Social media is an easy one. Social media is consumer-oriented. I sit with my tech team to say, okay, show me how you're using AI to generate UX. And I think that part, I think you have to be slightly nerdy almost to get it, but I feel like in today's world, if you're not tech-friendly, and I'm saying this to all the young marketers in the room, I've had people come and tell me, I don't want to do digital marketing. I want to do classical, traditional marketing. I said, okay, goodbye, because you're not going to last. Yeah. Classical marketing is digital marketing and vice versa. Yeah. So I really believe that we have to all really create a lot of intimacy and affinity with new tools, new abilities, and all of technology. So it doesn't matter which industry you're in.
Kedar, finally, before we go, and time is up right now, but finally, before we go, banking is a sector which is all sectors envy because the kind of data and the consumer data that you sit on. Having said that, what is your perspective on the future of AI-powered hyper-personalization in financial services marketing, given, all the ethical concerns and everything surrounding, data?
Look, I think hyper-personalization can either be magic or it could be surveillance. There's nothing in between. And if you feel like someone is watching me over and if you feel intruded, then it just doesn't work. So what we need to really be very cautious about is the way AI is being used, the way hyper-personalization is being done. And the more transparent you are in the way the AI is working for you, the more trust that you are going to earn with your consumers. So I think and the balance, if you're able to strike that balance, is then it'll work like magic. So as long as AI is going to be an ally and not an intruder, I think hyper-personalization will work. Just because time is less, I'm cutting it there.
Thank you so much. Thanks for this wonderful panel, and thanks for all of your insights. Thank you so much.
Thank you.